Today I want to share with you exactly how much money you need to trade Forex. It's kind of a tricky answer, but we'll go through all the details. What's up traders, welcome back to Montreal. What's going on? Today I want to share with you exactly, as I said, how much money you need to make a living trading. There's a couple of different answers because the clear answer, I want to say it right now, is there's no minimum and there's no maximum. Now in the past I've been doing videos telling like a fixed amount, and it's kind of true when you want to make a living. But before that, there's a lot of steps you have to take, and we'll go through each of them. The only thing I want to point out is that with the very low capital requirement that brokers have these days, you can open an account with like $100 or less. It brought kind of a mass of people wanting to make a living with a very low capital. And if you're watching this and that's your goal right now, I highly recommend you don't watch this at all. Go watch another video that's gonna maybe sell you your dream. But I want to take the realistic approach and the way that's ultimately gonna work and get you to some results with your capital. So here's what you must know. There are different parts in the trader learning curve. So people, like, you can't just go all in and expect to learn trading on the spot. That is a recipe for disaster, and most people who do this end up quitting after some time because they cannot sustain the losses. Now I like to see trading success and kind of how you start with 5 parts, which are start. And I want to go through each of them. Those are kind of the steps you have to go through when you start. And I want to share how much capital you need for every step, because it's going to adjust, it's going to be different every time, and you must go through that if you want to be successful. So S stands for starting off, and starting off means that you just start off and you do your research. You will have to learn how traders do things, what strategies they have, what possibilities you have, your trading style, things of that sort. And that means that you don't really need capital at this point. You could do it on a demo account. You could even not have an account and just research and try to learn as much as you can. You could even meet traders in person if you want. And that means that you don't have any capital requirement. Just take it steady, try to learn, and you don't have to push things and force things up. People that force things, they have to go back to previous steps because they went too far and too fast. And that's not how you want to do things, of course. So go slow about it. So learn as much as possible, and you will get to the second part, which is the testing. Eventually you will have a way to kind of trade. You'll have a strategy, a style you want to implement perhaps, and that's where you're going to have to test it. Now you've got 2 choices here. Choice number 1 is to test it on a demo account, which I would recommend. But most people will say, I don't like demo account, I want to test it on a live account. I want to have real money, because I cannot trade with fake money. It doesn't fit me. And I don't really understand this, but I still got you here. As we talked about earlier, you can open a demo account with pretty much no capital requirement. The lowest you want. That pretty much depends on what money you want to put in the account and what you're comfortable losing, because that's money that you will experiment with and the results are going to vary. Just don't expect to become rich from that money. Like, that's not what you want to do at all. You might decide to open an account with a couple $100, maybe $1,000, maybe a little bit more if you want, but that's going to be your testing part. And you want to test a strategy, test things you've learned, and you might go back and forth. You might not be super consistent in your approach, and that's still fine as part of the learning curve. But eventually you'll get to a point where you'll have some data and you'll have to adjust to what the market's doing and what you've learned more over these past couple of months. If you've been testing something in the previous phase, which you can also even backtest, then that means that you'll be able to adjust and to see what you need to do better and what has been going wrong for the past couple of months you've been trading that. From there, I would highly recommend you take time off the market to just adjust and to kind of review everything you've done. Because what happens is that when we review our performance and we still trade, we're kind of between 2 worlds. It's like review and trade. And I don't feel like we review as deep. I feel like we don't take a step away from the market. And that can be not a good thing. So I prefer when I review my stats, when I look back at my results, I take time off the market, which means I might not trade for that day, or I might take a weekend where I can fully review and not be at the chart and still have to take trades. So I kind of detach myself a little bit to become more focused and review better. So I would recommend you do this when you are in the adjusting phase, where you review everything, go back through everything, and find ways to become better and implement them later. Alright? Next, we're going to enter the phase where you have to replicate. So replicate what you've done so far. Replicate what your adjusting period, where you were like looking back at your result, told you to apply. And that might mean that you did also a bit of backtesting before in the adjusting phase to kind of know what you were supposed to do better and what was working the best in the market. But then you have to kind of see if you can replicate your strategy. Because the big mistake people make is that they have a way to trade, then they backtest it, they know it works, but when it comes to trade it live in the market, they can't do it for some reason. And so especially if you've not been trading demo or live before, you want to make sure that you are able to replicate what you are supposed to trade in the market. And that means that you could do it even there with the demo account. But I would recommend over time to start to get into the capital game of like trading with a little bit of money. And again, that amount will depend on yourself only. Like, don't follow the people that are going to tell you how much to put in. You put whatever you want. I personally, when I test something like this, and I'm in the phase where I want to replicate the result, I've had it done backtest, I go with $2,000. That's an amount for me that kind of fits my style. I know I can take all the trade on a live account with this, with that amount, and it just seems to kind of fit well. So that's for me my starting point, and then I will go into increasing the amount over time. Which brings us to the last phase, which is what I call tripling down. By that, I simply mean that you want to increase the amount you have in your account over time. And that can be done at a pace you want or based on your results. And I would much rather see this based on your results. So every time you have a good week, which means a week where you follow your plan, you do things right, and the market works with your strategy, then you want to increase what you have in your account by a little bit. Not all in everything at once, but progressively over time, you increase the capital you have in your account. People that just start with a small capital and never increase it, guess what? They're gambling. They're not treating this as a business. Because businesses know that over time they're going to have to increase more, they're going to have to invest more and put more money in the business. And that's exactly what you do in trading. The same thing. So what you want to do is you want to set yourself a schedule of like when you will add to your account. The amount you add is up to you entirely, but you will want to work on that and increase your capital over time. And the other big part here is that you want to save some money aside from whatever income stream you have. Could be your job, a business you have, whatever, to be able to put in your account. And I'll put below this video a video on that explains how you do it and kind of what split of your income you should put in your account. So go watch this below after. And that's going to make it possible to kind of still work, but increase progressively and incrementally your trading account, which ultimately will lead to you trading full time. When you're at this stage, the only thing you're left to be able to trade full time is increasing the capital in your account. So you could either increase it yourself or perhaps also trade for other people. So trade for investors. It will give you money to trade. That's also a possibility you have. You just have to kind of think about what you prefer and what is a good fit for you at this point. Now, tripling down means that you're going to have to increase that amount to roughly what you need to trade full time, which for someone in the US or someone in a Western style country where expenses are still high, that's going to be around $50,000 at minimum. Okay, I wouldn't see why you would go below that. There's no like clear number, and that depends on what you need to live, and that depends on a lot of factors too, which you'll hear about in the videos below. And it's totally possible to do it. Just don't see this as like a big bar. See this as a challenge you have, something you have to achieve. Because if you see this as a trouble or something you can't achieve, guess how your mindset is. It's pretty bad, right? So you want to work on that amount. And there's a lot of ways to achieve that amount. It's pretty simple when you think about it. It's pretty easy even. But you just have to take the steps and go through the process. I hope that makes sense, guys. I hope that gives you a clear idea of what you need to make a living trading. And also just the amount of money you need to trade Forex. Keep in mind there's no minimum amount. It depends on what you prefer and what you see fits your personality and your habits. But if there's something you think I missed out, comment below with it. And here are a few comments in the past video. I always appreciate you guys for leaving your comments. And you can comment below to be featured in the next video tomorrow. Subscribe if it's not done yet. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you back here tomorrow. Ciao.